It's tough for a free paper, right? As I said, like, I think people really need to understand that we depend on our advertisers, and we wouldn't exist without them. So it's a big deal to us, and we really appreciate it when someone grabs a paper and then goes into a store and says, "We saw you in the Kitchissippi Times." You know, we really like it when that happens, and it does happen. You know, and those businesses need to understand that if you want a community newspaper, actually, let me rephrase that. I think businesses and readers need to understand that if they want a community newspaper, they have to support community newspapers. And there are a lot of different ways that they can do that. Before I was an editor, I was a reader, obviously, and I read that paper cover to cover, ads and all, because I was happy to hear about the local businesses, and I try to support local wherever I can. And that's what we want. We want our readers to support local businesses, our advertisers, and we are a local business too. As I said, I think people still crave that content. People are consuming more content than ever before from numerous sources. Maybe people aren't as loyal to one source of content as they used to be. Like, I remember back in the day, you launch your computer and it starts up on your start screen. Your home screen was, whether it was, I'm aging myself, Netscape or Yahoo or CBC. Like, that's where you got your news from. Like, you were loyal to, and you had your bookmarks, you went through your bookmarks. But I think people are consuming news differently. Like, they're consuming news from Facebook, which is not great, but it happens, right? Because it's the echo chamber of the person's own beliefs and biases. And so, like, for me, like, I get my news from Facebook and Twitter as well, although I have got my sources and I read a lot. But, you know, like, one of my friends tweets a news article. I go to that news article because she tweeted it. It looks interesting. I'm not necessarily hung up on whether it's Washington Post or New York Times or whatever, or the Globe. You know, I'm content driven, and I think there are a lot of other people who are sort of subject driven, I should say. I'm not necessarily loyal to a certain brand of newspaper. But I think Great River Media is expanding. Well, I know they're expanding. And one of the things that OBJ has been really good at is, in terms of this, you know, media transitional stage that we're in with media, they're expanding to video. So they've made a big investment in video. They're doing all kinds of cool projects. They're broadcasting live from events. They did this cool, like, red carpet thing. They're doing mini shows. They're talking to people. They're interviewing people. I could see that extending into our audience as well. Whether we're doing 60-second hits from a new restaurant and a really cool, you have to eat this or try this coffee, or, you know, this kind of stuff, to a 15-minute talk show format. Like, there's lots of options, and I think people are ready for that, and people want to see that kind of stuff. I also see what really works for KT as well as OBJ by extension. I think sponsored content is really interesting. Sponsored content, if it's done well. No one wants to read sponsored content that is boring or lame. But if it's written, tailored to the readers, sponsored content could be a really effective way for an advertiser to get across information about themselves. It's a win-win for everybody. I just feel like when that whole Metroland thing happened, and once again, why did I read the comments on news stories? But yes, I did. People are saying, who needs community news? Well, oh my God, you would really miss it if it was gone. And I'm sure all those people who don't have a paper in their small town anymore really miss it.